What up, fight fans? This is Squared Circle Productions going in with a new rant. This one is called MMA Must Stand Up. Okay. Here recently, it's only been like a few fights. Well, actually, the last few MMA fights have been pretty much quick fights, you know, the major ones. Like the Conor McGregor fight, the Ronda Rousey fight, it's just, they've been finishing their fights pretty good, you know. Quick wins, things like that. Now, I'd like to see a little more competitive and have some longer fights. But that being said, being more leaning towards boxing, pugilism, the stand-up aspect of MMA is often underrated, but I think it's going to be a renaissance in the stand-up. If you checked out my video about how Holly Holmes' KO over Ronda Rousey was good for both MMA and boxing, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. But just to somewhat revisit that subject, but with a different twist on it, MMA got to start standing up, dude, because I'm getting tired of these one fights. There just seems to be this general thing where they start out standing up, a few punches are thrown, takedown, shoots for a single leg, double leg, takes the guy down, throws a few blows here and there, and then it's just pretty much inactivity, jockeying for a position. And they're just there, and then you spend 3-4 minutes, you know, like 30 seconds on your feet, and then like 3.5 minutes on the ground with really little activity. Really little activity. I just would like to see them start standing these guys back up. I think they need to put a thing in there, 1 minute, like how they have a shot clock in basketball. I think they need to have like a countdown, you know, and after 1 minute of relative inactivity, no major strikes have been rendered. The guy on the bottom is not really giving up the position, having worked his way out, but not eating a lot of punches, not taking any significant damage. To warrant them to continue to stay in that position, I think they should just stand them back up. The referee, at the referee's discretion, they should stand them back up. I think, and then that way you can have more and give them so many points for keeping them down that long. You know, like in wrestling, in high school wrestling, I think they have it in amateurs as well. They call them riding points. How if you got your man down and you dominate him, you rode him for so long, you kept him down, you get so many points for that. But after so long, they stand you back up. I mean, and I think that's what they need to do in MMA. I think you'll see a little bit more competitive fights. It'll be clear because it's kind of hard for a guy to win if 3-round, 4-round fight, 5 rounds, 3 of those rounds, 30 seconds on your feet, guy gets taken down, really nothing happens much after that, and they're on the ground for like the rest of the round. Round's over. Then round 2, maybe they stand up a little bit longer, maybe there's a takedown, maybe he fights his way out, reverses it, has somewhat of an advantage, they come back to their feet. Then the next round, you know, 2 or 3 rounds play out like the first one. You know, and then the last 2 maybe a little more action, things like that. And then you have this, how do you score those fights? I mean, it's almost guaranteed whoever took the guy down the most is going to win, you know, just from the amount of takedowns. But I think that takedowns should be part of it. So many points for takedowns, so many points for meaningful strikes in the guard position or from a mount. Okay, but also another thing that I've been noticing is that when they're like, okay, I'm gonna say they really need to stand them up more so because I mean, when the last time you seen somebody in a UFC or or Bellator? When the last time you seen somebody get a tap out from a Kimura? You just don't see that anymore. You know, every now and then you still see an armbar, but you don't see as many as you used to see. You know, like in '09. You know, you're not seeing that because the defense is a lot better. You know, a highly skilled mixed martial artist can defend himself better off his back. So if he's not taking any significant damage, that's just boring to see these guys on the ground that whole time. And there's no action, no activity happening. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of the ground game, you know. But if ain't nothing happening, man, stand them back up. Stand them back up. After 1 minute, 45 seconds to a minute, if nothing really happening, get them back up on their feet. You understand what I'm trying to say? Even if it's going to go back to the ground or whatever, let's see them work for takedowns. Let's see them get in them out. Let's see them try and get a ground and pound going. You know, let's see them work for some kind of an ankle lock or leg lock or arm lock, you know, or a choke. You know, but, I mean, make it more competitive. Make it go a little bit more. Because, honestly, most of the times, you know, some of the best MMA fights are usually when they have more strikes and more of a stand-up type game. So, I mean, just something I like to see. Of note, coming here in February, Kimbo Slice is going to be fighting Dada 5000 and Ken Shamrock and Royce Gracie going to fight for a third time. Now, I'm going to show you, okay? This Kimbo Dada fight is going to probably be very exciting because it's going to turn into a slugfest, you know. But I still give Kimbo the slight advantage because of his grappling. His grappling isn't great compared to mixed martial artists, but compared to the other guy, I mean, he's got a slight advantage. You know, he's got somewhat of an advantage if it goes into that. And if Kimbo was smart, I wouldn't just try to just stand there and trade with the guy. I'd trade with him enough to feel him out, but at some point, get him fully engaged into coming at you with his hands, and then take him down and probably try and win with a choke. You know, see how good his defense is. You know, this is your chance to school somebody the way you was getting schooled. You know, take him out of his element. Take him off his feet. But this stands to be a really good fight. This will be a slugfest because they're not super highly skilled like that. These dudes are basically backyard brawlers. For the most of their careers, they made their names as backyard brawlers. You know, and you know you can take a dog out to fight, but you can't take the fight out the dog. You know, so as a matter of fact, that's what they called it, dog fight. That's what that little thing that they had got started back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Backyard fights. So, you know, hey. But they gonna come and do what they do best, which is slug it out. And it will be an exciting fight. Not gonna see a lot of, oh man, you see how he rolled his shoulder? You see how he blocked that? Nah, ain't gonna be too much of that. It's gonna be they gonna just stand there and trade. And it's personal too. Man, we're gonna see a good fight. And I'm interested in seeing how this Shamrock Gracie fight go down. But I hope it's more like a more back and forth version of the first fight. That first fight, the little 90 seconds or whatever it was, that was a good fight because Shamrock was hyped up. And he came out with so much aggression. And I was like, oh snap, he's about to really hurt this guy. But then when he flipped him over and turned that momentum that he used Shamrock's momentum against him and flipped him over, oh man. And he got him. And it was funny because Shamrock was still trying to fight after the fight. You know? So, you know what I'm saying? That was actually funny right there. He did try to fight him after the fight. But, to be honest with you, though, you know, MMA need to stand up more. I ain't got nothing against the ground game. I got a wrestling background as well. But I'm still a fan of, you know, the sweet science. You know, so, and a huge martial arts fan, too. Love the kung fu, love the karate, you know. So I would love to see some more kicks. I love to see more punches, knees, elbows. I like that stuff. So, as well as the ground game. But like I said, if it's not working on the feet, you know, it's sort of like the equivalent of in boxing where, you know, you just expecting this good fight and all the dude does is smother his punches and grab and hold, you know. That's basically the same thing you're doing, but you're doing it on the mat. You're doing it on the ground. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, if nothing's happening after a while, man, stand them back up. I mean, even if it's going to keep going back to the ground, force it to be competitive. Force it to be some more action. Force it to not just be an obvious decision, and we have to take it because this guy did take the guy down 4 times in the fight. But man, you know, I mean, sometimes you gotta be able to stop takedowns. But once you get down, if he's not doing no real damage, man, stand him back up. So anyway, that's all I really want to say. Peace out. One love.